In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with Get Dat Shot. Get Dat Shot now offers first-in-line photo and video editing, 20% off Get Dat Shot merch, and 20% off prints to all teams that wear the Get Dat Shot logo on their jersey. Message GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram to become a Get Dat Shot program team. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message @PaintballKumite on Instagram. Welcome everyone to episode 18 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene here in Texas, from professional players and teams to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week we will have a short and sweet episode with a new topic and a new special guest. I'm Christian Smith. I'm a player for the Texas Titans. In this episode, we are going in the pits with Chris Rangel, owner of UNDR Industries, owner of Veteran Militia, and of the Bunkerfest tournament series. Chris, how are you doing this evening?
I am good. I like to preface with all these podcasts before we kind of get started, if you don't mind. 988, if you are in a mental health crisis, please reach out to 988. It's free. You can text as well. They got trained professionals 24/7, 365 to help you if you have any type of mental health crisis at any time. It's a good service. Make sure you reach out to it, and you can always use that as a tool for your friends as well if they're going through a situation. Appreciate you having me on tonight, man. As always, it's good to talk paintball.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for coming on. That 988 number used to be like a 1-800 number, and now it's just 988 now, right?
Yep. So it took him a long time actually, because I remember when I was having an issue, it was like fucking trying to remember an 800 number, and you're like, you got time for all this shit? And then you call the VA and the same thing. You're like, if you have a mental health crisis, dial this like huge ass number. And you're like, why is it taking so long? So it was a big deal that they finally got it taken care of, and now it's just a 3-digit.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thanks for plugging that.
Yep.
All right, Chris. So for those listening that maybe they don't know very much about you, so how long have you personally been involved in the Texas paintball scene?
So let's see. I retired in 2014, and my wife is from Lewisville, Texas. So I'm from Oklahoma. So I never came to Texas or had anything to do with Texas until I retired here in late 2014. I think we officially moved here in like December or like November. I can't remember exactly. But it was when that first big snow story happened in like 2015, where it just like snowed. And I was like, okay, I'm done with this, because I actually moved when I was stationed from Washington. And it just like, it kept doing that. It kept snowing like forever. And it's like, okay, I'm tired of this. So, but 2015, 2014, I've lived here since then. And played the USXBLs primarily. And probably about the only scene that I've really been able to participate in, because I was D2 and D1. So it's kind of difficult to play locally anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know you're still regularly head over to California to play in WCPPL.
Yeah, I play with Mike's League predominantly. And if anybody's curious what I'm fucking doing, I'm sewing my Oogie Boogie. So of course, trying to sew with yarn is such a pain in the ass, and I thought I got bigger needles, but I didn't. But yeah, man, I play WC, MVPS, MSXL. I've gone up to Montana to play. Travel all over the country. I mean, there's really nowhere that I haven't gone or willing to travel to play paintball.
And That's a dream for a lot of people just to be able to play and travel like that. So when you retired in 2014, 2015, and you started playing, had you already been playing before you retired, or?
Oh yeah. I've been playing. So I think it got brought up the other day. I've been playing for like 28 years because like I started playing when like Kingman had come out with the Tiger Shark, or not Kingman, Brass Eagle had come out with the Tiger Shark, and that was like 1994. So I've been playing for like 28 years, which is fucking nuts. I mean, I turned 38 this year, so yeah, I've been playing since I was like 10.
Oh, yeah, that's a long time. So I've only been in the paintball scene since January of 2015. So right around when you retired is when I began my journey. So over those years, what teams have you played for here in Texas?
In Texas, I played with Honey Biscuits with Justin Dolman. That was his guys. We played as Wolfpack. That was also a Justin Dolman team. And then Veteran Militia. And then one event with 406. All the 406 guys came out. But that's it. It's either been VM team of some capacity. But most of the times in Texas, I'm usually coaching or staffing or stuff like that. So most events I'm not able to play because I'm D2 or I was D1.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think I've only seen you, at least in the times that I've been playing USXBL, I think I've only seen you maybe like one or two events, but
Yeah,
it's good to be able to see you more around, at least at the Bunkerfest stuff.
Yeah, like most of the events there for like USXBL and stuff like that, they run the same time as other leagues. And so either we'll go out and obviously be doing that as a vendor, or I'm doing that as a player so I can actually participate. So, and I mean, it's tough, you know, you get up in the rankings, you go to purgatory and you got nowhere to play. And the only places you can play currently are WC or NXL. So it doesn't give you a lot of viable options as a player, you know, to you know, keep playing paintball. You know, and I still have the drive and the passion to put my shit on it and go out there and spend points, you know. So
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any interest in doing any of the mech stuff that's starting to come back around?
yeah. So I was in the office, or it's not the office. I was in the meeting with Tim Montrester and Russell and the NXL guys and a lot of the other industry guys when he brought up ICC, you know, and he got laughed at by everybody, you know, that, you know, he's like, we need to get back to our roots. And so it's good to see that there has been this resurgence of what, you know, where I started at, and a lot of guys started at. I was in Chicago, was it like ago, 2 weeks? Yeah, 3-4 weeks ago. I don't know, for ICPL. So I was there for that. Had a really good time at Chicago Badlands. I did Mike Hinman's 10-man last year. So I've done probably 5 to 7 10-man or mech events in the last few years. I missed out on the last ICC, the last real ICC, because the missus got COVID, and then of course, you know, sharing is caring, so she gave it to me. So I missed out on that, which I was really bummed out because I was like the one event, legitimately the one event all year I was looking forward to going to the most, and so I missed out on that. But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, there's definitely plenty more mech events to come. It seems like it's really on an uptrend right now.
It's definitely a different vibe, and like that's what I like about it. It's not the, you know, you go to oh no, you go to an X-Ball tournament, you know, and everybody's super focused and, you know, hyper vigilant, and, you know, whole machismo, you know, mentality that I've, you know, got to do the best and I got to be the best, and people are assholes, you know, just generally, you know, because they're focused, and you go to 10-man and it's like, I'm here to have fun with my friends, I'm here to drink beer. If I win a point, cool. If I don't, whatever, you know. And it's good to see that there's that same aspect, because at the end of the day, that's why we all started kind of playing paintball. You know, it's just to be with my friends and have a good time, and whatever happens in that box happens in that box. But you know, I'm not worried about it.
For sure. It seems like a great time. I haven't personally gotten into it, but it's a goal of mine for sure. So
I definitely would do it, man.
yeah. So Chris, with being in the scene for so long, so what are some things that have changed, at least within Texas, for better or for worse, over your career or involvement in the scene?
I mean, okay. I can't say exactly, on the cultural side. I'm gonna use that word a lot because that's to me is where things are currently. It's definitely is a singular vibe on the culture of Texas paintball, and there's really not a lot of diversity, and so that's something that I definitely have seen, and that's why I've gone elsewhere to play paintball um, repeatedly. It's just better competition or it's cheaper, and that sucks, because I shouldn't be have to travel to be able to play paintball. Not that I don't like traveling, but it would be nice to be able to play. It would be nice to not have to do that. And so that's something that ties into what I've been doing with Bunkerfest, and what we're looking forward to doing in the future is moving that culture forward and doing something to help uh, get new growth, and it all ties together, and then it's one of those things like I've been here for several years. I haven't seen anything drastically change that in my opinion, moves that needle forward. When I look in a broader spectrum of the rest of the country, it's a highlighter box so that you can highlight everything inside that box.
Mhm. So, yeah, something that I've noticed, at least, anytime you watch an NXL event, there's more than likely going to be a Texas team that makes the finals field, or at least back when divisional used to play on the pro field for the finals. You would always see a couple of Texas teams, and you would always hear how Texas is this mecca of paintball, or at least like the current powerhouse. But surprisingly, whenever you actually come to play in Texas and come to play locally, there's really just D5 and D4.
Yeah, and so like I was pulling numbers yesterday. Mr. Hunter, nothing's gonna happen, but I have to listen, okay? I was looking at numbers, and so USXBL has had 38, 42, 42 in a 38 event team wise. And then you look in retrospect to, and I actually was looking at this morning, um, in retrospect to the other leagues. Pull it up real quick so I can talk smartly over this subject. I got to do a little scrolling. You know how group chats are, man. Like they hit a nerve, and then all of a sudden it's just like 1,000 messages.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So, sorry, still scrolling. All right. So of this year, USXBL 43, 43, 38, 42. Okay. Then you look at WC. WC has not had an event with less than 100 teams. 106, 123, 102, 101. MSXL, north of us, 80, 86, 85, 66, 66. You look at Florida, MVPS, 86, 106, 93, 84, 78. So it's like, what are we not doing, or what is not happening here that is driving the same tempo that you see in California and Florida? And you're right. Like you see in the finals, typically it's a Texas team or a Florida team. So obviously we have the talent here. We've got some of the best fields in the country. So why are we so stagnant on our outturn? And Tom Cole's even said, he's like, Texas has been lackluster. And I'm like, well, why is it? He's like, we don't know. I'm like, all right, well, some dynamic has to change to make those numbers, change. So, what is that? Is it one thing or is it multiple things? Is there a tiered approach that needs to be taken to make those numbers larger, or get more people involved? Get more new players or get older players, or whatever the case is.
Yeah, and it's granted, I haven't started playing USXBL until really 2020, but it seems like, at least looking back on PB leagues, there did used to be kind of a bigger player base or a bigger team base within like 2016 to 2019, at least in the higher divisions. Like, I'm looking just at the 2019 national championship, and in Division 3, there was 8 teams. This last USXBL championship, we had 4.
Yeah.
Division.
And why is that? Like, is it cost? Is it venue? Is it time of year? Are guys saving for cup, or has the economy really hammered guys to that point where now they're taking a step back from those leisure activities?
Mhm. Yeah, and it is it's kind of sad to see that it's after Division 4, once you hit up to D3, there's not really a local scene, or at least not in these last couple of years. Hopefully Bunkerfest, whenever it arrives next year, starts to change that. And I'm sure there's a lot of factors more than just like it's just one league, or the whole controversy about counting APPA points versus not counting APPA points. But
I mean, I understand why they do that, because they don't want to force out kids. But then, in my opinion, when greed shows up, and they showed up to Mardi Gras, Mr. Hunter, please stop. They show up to Mardi Gras, and granted, like, all those guys on greed, they're D2 caliber players. Like, they're solid guys. Like, Josh has done a great job, or Bonner has done a great job with that organization. Those kids and everyone on that team knows goddamn well they should be playing D2. But because of the way it has been, they're all D4 and D3. So they get to show up, get no points in a tournament, win the tournament repeatedly. I think they won the last one again. Again, nothing to them. This isn't like a knock on them. I'm glad that they're winning, but they're not ranking up. They're not being forced out. And so on one turn of the coin, the USXBL is trying to insulate those players so that they can continue playing in the local league. And in turn, it's, in my opinion, it stagnates the growth. But on the other side of the coin, there's nowhere for these kids to go. And is it the long hard road that Mike Henman did with the WC, where you just got to have the division? And as time has gone on, like, I was that kid playing. Fuck was it? I started with Notorious, and we were playing. I played against fucking Yarber and Glader Gaze and all those dudes on WC back in 2014. And then there was years there was only 6 of us. You got to play that long game, or do you say fuck it? I'm not going to even waste my time, money, or energy, and just focus on D3 and D4. But in my opinion, looking on the bigger scale, there's no reason we can't have similar turnouts that other leagues are having, So, but that comes down to time, money, and energy. Is it easier just to worry about getting 40 teams and calling it good? Well, we got 4 teams in D3. That's great. Or maybe we change some key optics, and we can get more than that. And those are questions that are going to come up with Bunkerfest, inadvertently, that we're going to have to answer. So
yeah, and I'm sure that we'll talk a lot more about those like kind of individual puzzle pieces as we go forward with the show. Yeah, even, I mean, we've got a lot of guys in the chat right now. Some of them from the Texas Titans, some of them from other organizations as well. They're saying, kind of their opinions of what all is going right, what all is going wrong.
And like, my biggest thing is, I want to make this clear, is like, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I'm not taking a knock or a dig at anybody, because I don't care. My thing is, this goes back to culture, and especially from like the Marine Corps standpoint, is that you'd get into a rhythm, go on deployment, and you come home. That culture that you built over that set of period, good or bad, would drive the train for the next, op tempo. So if you had a bad culture, that culture was what you got to deal with. And so to me, it's time, and again, this isn't a knock or dig at anybody, it's time for the culture of our scene. It needs a change. It needs something else. And, we've had several years of the same thing over and over. Now it's time to try something different. Not saying that Bunkerfest is that different, but there has to be a cultural change at the helm to drive a new dynamic to make something happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just Bunkerfest, even if it's not the solution, but the fact that it is the catalyst for all of this change is going to be, I think over the long term, going to be a really healthy thing for the scene. I think that a lot of players and teams that are hovering in that D4, D3 kind of, I guess, purgatory, for lack of a better word, feels that this upcoming season is going to be a season full of big change, and which I think is going to be very well welcomed.
I think it's cool too, because I was listening to Greenspan and Spica's thing today. I had Tom Cole on. I don't know if it was a recent episode or whatnot, but Tom, kept bringing up Texas in the first part of the show. And so, to me, that's good. One, not only having a new regional player, but also having, the NXL having more vested interest in growing Texas, and growing that dynamic for the player base. So to me, that's a win-win, because you and me as players now have diversity of product to invest our money into, invest our entertainment, because that's what I see this as. This is entertainment, so it's good to see that we're getting more options, and we get to have different experiences with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited to see where it goes. So Chris, we've talked a little bit about Bunkerfest, and we'll circle back towards that around the end, but I want to start first with your involvement with Veteran Militia. I know that at least talking with other members that have played under the Veteran Militia name, I said that you're kind of the guy in charge. I don't know if owner is the right word to describe your involvement.
I don't like that word, because it was Travis and myself started this. Travis Kerr. He's kind of taken a hiatus, but he's come back, and we're gonna have a very stern talking to when I see him again at Cup. But that's something else altogether. So the thing is that we this all when all the 22 push-ups was going around, and the ALS challenge of dumping ice on your head was, that whole thing was going on.
Right.
So we knew, and we know suicide's bad. We know that it's a fucking no-brainer. So for us, it was like, well, how do we do something on our ground roots level that we can do to try to make a difference? And I'm going to use that as loose as difference as possible, because for us, just getting a guy to talk is making a difference. And I told Tom Cole this morning, because I was talking to him on the phone. 2 days ago, I had a guy message me and said, "Hey man, I'm thinking about killing myself." I'm like, well, first off, that's the fucking wrong answer. He's like, well, I don't know what to do. Well, man, like, where are you at? Well, I'm doing this. All right. So what you need to do is take a step back and a change of seat. You need to change your culture. And I harp on this caveat a lot, because that's what it is. Your life is a culture, in the respective, like, you keep doing the same shit, you're going to get the same outcome. He's like, well, all I do is work, and then I come home and I'm miserable. Okay, well, take fucking time off. He's like, I can't. Okay, so what's more important, your job or you? Well, obviously I am. Well, no shit. You got kids and you got a wife, and if that job's gonna fucking shit can you for having a mental health crisis, then that's somewhere you probably don't want to be at, And so we talked for like 2 hours, and I'm by no means a professional, but that's at the base root of what we tried. I am talking. No, please go in the other room. At the base root of all this is why we started VM, was to give guys an outlet to talk, and paintball is just a catalyst for us to get together and bullshit and have that camaraderie that a lot of us experienced, and then post service we miss the most. Guys, I want you in here. Either you be quiet or you leave.
Yeah, I mean, I totally appreciate. I mean, the constant, consistent effort that y'all are making. I mean, even just at the start of the show, plugging 988, I can see it's a continued kind of, I guess, mission statement, or I'm not sure exactly the word.
And it's tough, you know. It's like, and again, like I told Tom, it's like he's like, you know, you're the, you know, you're in charge. I'm like, I'm not in charge. There's 12 other guys on VM. I'm the most vocal because, you know, I've been doing paintball, so people know me. I'm the honest asshole that you hate. I honestly, I kind of feel like that. A lot of people, I respect Chris, but he's a fucking dick. You know, well, I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to change who I am. But I'm here to help you. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, you know, I, you know, want to give back and use my platform as much as I possibly can to help these guys out. You know, and so like, you know, paying for entry fees or paying for paint or whatever the case is to get these guys together is, you know, why we're doing VM as a whole, you know. And if I can get these guys to know that they've got somebody either on the keyboard or down the street or someone that they can reach out to in their time of need and be like, all right, dude, like just talk, you know, if I can get you to talk, then hopefully we can get the right people involved so that that individual doesn't make, you know, a final choice that is catastrophic, you know. And not to say that we haven't had suicides in the group and we've lost guys, but at the same time, you know, if someone posts up and like, hey, I'm having a fucking rough go, you know, all the bullshit, the banner stops and everybody fucking consolidates and insulates that individual to help them, you know. And that's to me, that's exactly what we set out to do back in 2015, 2016, one of those. So, but yeah, man.
Well, that organization is really grown, and I mean, you see it at World Cup this year. There's currently 13 veteran militia lines registered across all of the divisions, and this
trying to break 19. That's our goal. Like that's my goal is to get 19 because that's what we had prior to COVID.
Okay, gotcha. And I think that this year's extra special because of the edition of the Commander's Cup. Yeah. So that's going to be taking place on the pro field and be a competition between the different branches. So yeah, what was that like getting that set up?
All right. So Commander's Cup's been in my fucking brain for, I don't know, a hot minute. And then I got real drunk. I got real drunk. And then I messaged Tom Cole when I was drunk and I was like, hey, Tom, I want to do Commander's Cup. He's like, well, what is it? I was like, it's all the veterans just beat the shit out of each other, talk shit. We do it on Veterans Day. He's like, all right, let me get back to you. And so then like a couple weeks go by and I got drunk again. I messaged Tom like, hey, what's up? He's like, all right, we're in. Yeah. And then it's just grown. So like once I got the green light, and Tom and myself talked with Jason Trojan at ICPL. It's grown. And so like, you know, reached out to Wes and Curtis for the Army team. Dwayne and myself took the Marine team. Will and Chuck took the Air Force team, and then Evan and Neville took the Navy team. And I was like, hey, dudes, like this is on you. You build your team. You know, here's the allocations. You get this many boat spaces. Fill it up with whoever the fuck you want. You know, and we've tried to do our best to use as many VM guys as we possibly can. But we also brought in some ringers because the Marines got to win. It's our birthday and it's on Veterans Day. So, you know, we're trying to get that win. But at the same time, you know, again, just trying to give these guys an opportunity. So we like on the Marine team, as example, Crystal Clark, she was one of the very, very first people to be part of VM. So, you know, she's with us, you know, and giving other guys who might never have an opportunity to do something like this, we brought them on board as well. You know, because it's again, you're trying to get as many guys involved as we can. You know, we've had other guys reach out. You know, I'm a veteran. How I get involved? Like, join VM. You know, obviously this year's kind of already set its course, but I look forward to seeing this again, you know, grow come next year. And I, you know, thought about it, it's like, is this something that I can maybe do on my level here in Texas, having Texas teams show up and do the same thing, but it's good because, I'm loving all of the energy. Like, I think literally no bullshit. Like Wes and Curtis got like 200 friend messages, which is awesome because Wes is a hermit. And so knowing that he had to talk to people really just warmed my heart. But yeah, like we had like substantial growth in the VM page. We went from like 2,400 members to like 2,700 members almost overnight. So it was really good. And then a lot of these guys are like, well, I play paintball. So it's like, where you at? And it's good to see that the guys are linking up and continuing the overall mission of getting together and playing paintball.
Cool. Do you have a goal to make this like an annual thing?
I mean, I would love to see it get carried forward with the NXL. But I mean, it's always one of those things. I just kind of take everything, one step at a time. If we're able to continue doing it every year with the NXL, that'd be phenomenal. If we're not able to do it, then, I want to, on my level, make it possible, but it's like, I want to have many people involved, I think one thing we're going to do for next year is like, if you played this year's Commander's Cup, you're not eligible for next year's Commander Cup. That way we get a whole fresh set of faces on that and, get more people involved, doing stuff like that, and keep guys engaged,
Yeah, that'd be, I'm looking forward to watching it. It's going to be,
yeah. So, on Thursday during the lunch break, and so Army will play Navy, and then we'll play the Air Force. And the cool part on Thursday is we have all veterans doing the reffing as well. So there should be a lot of debauchery. There should be a lot of just blatant, just beating each other into the ground, and just some really good paintball. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to. And so Harvey, Doc Harvey, he's a vet as well, and I met him when I started playing the CFOA. And I was like, "Hey, man, you've been a head ref. You know what needs to get done."
And
he likes you.
Oh, thank you.
And I was like, "Hey, man, like, I told all the refs, I was like, I'm not trying to influence you all, but don't let this come down to who got the least penalties." And if you ever watched the Army and Marine or Army and Navy football game, you know exactly what I mean. Like, these guys go out there, pound the shit out of each other for 60 minutes, and then turn right around, get online, listen to the national anthem, hug it out, and then go back to their alma maters. And the refs just let it happen, because it's part of the game.
Right.
So I'm hoping the same happens, and then on Friday we get the pro refs. So who knows what we're getting into with that.
Oh boy.
So because it was, yeah, Tom's like, are you guys going to cheat a lot? I'm like, Tom, does a sailor drink? So yes. I gotta say, thank you to Tom and the powers that be, to helping us, make that happen. So, but yeah, it's just been a wild idea in the back of my head for a while, and now we get to make it happen. So
yeah, well, we're looking forward to watching it. It's gonna be, at the very least, it's gonna be entertaining. I think you can.
That's what we want. That's what we want.
All right. So for everybody in the chat, welcome. We will be taking questions at the end of the episode. So if you have something you want to ask Chris, go ahead and type it in now. I see a couple of y'all are asking what Chris is working on over there.
So I'm working on, I made an Oogie Boogie outfit, and I'm sewing the panels up to make, get some accents. So here's the one side. So I'm dressing up as Oogie Boogie for Halloween, and I don't have any time. I literally fly out tomorrow for WC. I come back from that, and then we got to spin up for cup layout. I'm flying down to Austin for practice. Come back from that, and then heading out the door for World Cup. So
sweet, yeah. So y'all continuing on. Oh my goodness, we got the chat popping off right now. All right, so continuing. In addition to everything that you do for Veteran Militia, you are also the owner of Under Industries, which makes apparel and soft goods for paintball as well as other sports. Yep. I think I've seen you make like tech tees, especially for like kind of like shooting competition teams
Yep.
and a whole bunch of other things as well. So tell me about the origins of like what made you want to start Under Industries.
So Under started as a paintball team in North Carolina. It was all a bunch of military guys, mostly Marines, and a couple. Turn that down, please. A couple other military brats, and that's how Under started. Underprivileged started. Hold on one second.
All right, so y'all, for those of you that don't know, Under, they are a pretty big company in the paintball scene. They make mostly soft goods, I'd say.
Yeah, we're all soft goods. It'd be cool to get into hard goods, but I don't got millions of dollars, and everything that Under has done has been bootstrapped. So, one project pays for the next project, and that's how it's been since we've started. But back to your question, we started doing headbands and goggle straps, and then from there, in between deployments, I'd come back, be broke because I was a E3 and I was only making like $600 every 2 weeks. And then you spend all that money playing CFOA, 5-man and X-ball, so you go broke really quick. And so started doing headbands and goggle straps, just trying to make extra money. And was doing that for a while. Come back from deployment. I was like, all right, let's try this.
All right.
No, leave it alone.
Well,
and
exploded now. I mean, you've got a whole lot of other stuff than just headbands and goggle straps now.
Yeah, and it's I was talking with the father-in-law. It's like it's crazy when I sit back and look at this because, like, by all means, it really shouldn't have not grown into what it's grown into. And I'm very thankful that we've had the continued opportunity to be able to do that, and going and making that first jump to do pants. And the pants did really well. All right, let's start doing jerseys. The jerseys were really, really shitty, but it was always the continuation to make them better and better and better. And now I feel like we're at a spot where we really make a really good jersey. And, and it's like, okay, well, what else can we do? All right, let's try gear bags. All right, we made a real good gear bag. All right, let's make a better gear bag. And it's just one of those things of never settling. It's kind of one of our little mantras. And that same mentality is like always make your position better. And that's what's always driving me. It's like, okay, can we make a better jersey? Can we make a better set of pants? And case in point, we're in ICPL, and James from Adrenaline's like, when's your next set of pants come out? I'm like, well, how do I make these pants better? He's like, I don't know. These are really, really good pants. He's like, I'm on my 3rd year and they haven't even broken yet. Oh. I'm like, exactly. So how do we make this better? It's like, well, I don't know, man. Good one. And then that's the kind of thing I'm in. It's like, and I said this a lot, I only get one opportunity with a customer. So I have to give you the best possible product that I can possibly give out, because that's probably all I'm going to get. And the way paintball is, it's very fecal. It's very fanboyish. Guys are set in their ways. And so you might never get an opportunity. And the internet public court of appeals is the most important thing to people. Well, Under sucks. Why? Because some shit that I read in 2014 said he sucked. Have you ever worn a shit? No, but fuck him. That's typical paintball.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got a jersey and pants that you custom made for me, that Cloud9 logo with the blue stripe down the side. Yeah, got that. I know that locally at X Factor we have the Dragoons that play with us, and they've been a long time Under team. Just
Sasha and his boys they're good dudes. Sasha's a good dude.
Yeah, for sure. And so I'm sure that over, how long have you been going with Under now?
2014, 2015, or no, sorry, 2008, 2007, 2008.
Oh, so over, goodness, like the 13, 14 years now, I'm sure there have been lots of ups and downs. So what have been some steps that you've taken to kind of make sure that Under stays alive, and the continued success of your business? And do you have any tips for anybody who's like looking to, be like a hopeful entrepreneur out there?
I mean, entrepreneurship, is a hot buzzword, in today's world. I think that really it comes down to is you have to be willing to sacrifice. You've got to be able to live bare, and pun intended, to make those things happen. They're not overnight. Nothing in clothing anyway is instant success. and you have to stay humble and hungry. It's different when you're selling something that you don't have to worry about the manufacturing piece. Clothing, I've got to put my name on it, and I have to live up to the expectations that it's going to do what it's supposed to. And we've had plenty of opportunities to learn and grow over the years, and try to ensure that we're not doing the same mistakes. And again, going back to the Internet Public Court of Appeals of PB Nation or Facebook, that holds a lot of weight to people. I've had guys come up and like, "Fuck you, Chris." And I'm like, "What? Who are you? Like, what did I do?" He's like, "Nothing. I just don't like you. I've never talked to you in my life, but good to go, man." And I like that's like no bullshit. I've had that happen. You're an asshole. Okay, well, why? Well, because you told my buddy so and so, and it's like, well, did he deserve it? I don't know. Well, I don't know either, man. I mean, I try to be helpful to everybody, but it is what it is. So, and that's paintball is a weird dynamic, as is. So it's always one of those things. But anybody like looking to to do their own business, no, buddy. You've got to be resilient. There's good highs and there's some real terrible lows. When you blow 10 grand on a product that you think is going to be phenomenal and no one buys it, or it's just terrible, and guess what? You're not getting your money back to reinvest that in another one. And I've had that happen, and you're just like, well, fuck, what do I do? Do I fucking call it quits, or do I double down and now I got to work twice as hard to make up for the shit box that I just got myself into, and being resilient in those type of situations. I tell a lot of people, if I didn't have my time in the military, I probably wouldn't be as successful as I am with a lot of the lows that you'll see in paintball because of the way it is. That's just how this sport is. You can see it on doesn't matter how many times you play, you're going to get your ass beat. And then one Sunday a year, you might get lucky and be on top, or you work your ass off and you make those consistent Sundays. And that's what you try to get to, as a business. It's just being consistent,
Yeah, it seems like consistency is a very difficult thing to do. People don't understand just like how tough it is to, even with everything being thrown at you, just to keep going on, never, taking a day off, or just continuously applying, everything that you can. It is tough.
It's tough.
So yeah. Now, do you have anything like kind of looking forward for the future of Under Industries? Do you have any exciting things that are coming up, or
so like product wise, like I'm working on some new joggers, working on some new pants. We're working on different materials for jerseys. I'm always doing the other stuff. I'm always testing things. If it comes to market, that's always a tough one. Because I don't want to take a step backward. Like again, like we only get one opportunity, so I'll make sure that the opportunity that we do present is the best that we can. I'm always trying different things. Always trying to do different things on pod packs and various soft goods. Like as a company, we're always trying to get more involved into youth athletics, recreational sports, shooting sports, fishing, anything that we can do, custom jerseys on, regardless of who it's for, or what the end state is. Because everybody wants to be a peacock. Everybody wants to show off, what they love and what they're passionate about. So if we can be that reason to be able to make that happen, I'm all about it.
Sure. All right. So also, you've, as if that wasn't enough, you've also taken to resurrecting the Bunkerfest series. And in the last 2 years, you've had at least what I would consider 2 very successful events in both Round Rock and at LA Extreme in Louisiana. So what made you want to take up this massive task of resurrecting Bunkerfest, and why Bunkerfest specifically rather than just making a whole new series with a whole new name?
So we took over Animal in 2019, and just going through all the files, all the IP of Animal, I stumbled across Bunkerfest. And as a kid, I was poor, so I didn't get to go to Bunkerfest. I lived in Oklahoma. watched them in War Pig and whatnot. So I knew it as a kid. But going through all the animal customs archives, that's where I found Bunkerfest. And so I reached out to Mondo and I was like, hey, and for you guys that don't know, Mondo owned and operated Animal Customs for a decade plus, maybe almost 20 years. And so him and Ryan Gray started Bunkerfest. And so at the time in 2018, I had reached out, and kind of, talked to Mondo about, his experiences and whatnot. And so, I was like, well, this would be cool to bring back and do something with. No expectations more than just getting, 10 teams, which would probably just be my friends, to have a one-off tournament and whatnot. And so originally we were going to go to Fit and host a tournament. Reach out to JD. He was all about it. It'd be super fun. And then, like all things in paintball, fucking politics got involved. And so then, we weren't able to do it, try to reach out to several fields, all kind of the same, the joys of the back end of paintball that people don't see every day. The politics got involved, and so we had to scrap it. And so we were like, all right, we'll recock for 2019, and we were all ready to go, and then COVID happened. So that really, again, fucking was a huge disappointment. What was that? Might be a year off. Don't keep me on the years. I'm really bad with this shit. And so we didn't get to do it because of COVID. And then, it was 19, 20, and then 21. Yep. And so, we're like, all right, fine. We won't go to a field. I'll just invest everything on my own. I will do this all fucking bootstrapped up. I'll invest every fucking dollar Under Industries has made. And I'm going to do this because now I want to do this. Before it was just like, I want to have a good time. Now it's like, I want to prove not only to myself, but everybody else who fucking try to stop this from happening, and they can say otherwise, but that's how I feel. At the end of the day, all right, well, now we're going to do it. And I set forth, just like anything else I've ever done, took the same mentality that I would do for planning for a mission downrange. You brought in the absolute best people that we could, did all the internal planning and everything like that, and had D-Day happen in Austin. And besides the fucking weather, which is the one thing I can't do anything with, I really feel like we put on a fucking banger of an event, and that really set the tone for Mardi Gras. And so it really transpired out of that. Why I got told no. I mean, when it really comes down to it, I got told no, and so that I don't like being told no. I don't like being told I can't do something. And I look back, would I be where I'm at right now if I would have done the first event and just walked away? I probably would be. I probably would have been content and just used it as something fun to do each year, with my friends. But now it's turned into this thing that has consumed fucking every fiber of my body. I wake up, I'm thinking like, what can we do? How can we make it better? What can we change? What else can we do? And that wheel is continuously spinning in my head, and I love it. I love the creative process of all the stuff, and I'm sharing it with, like, I got two groups. I got the Bunkerfest group of like all the guys who actually work the event with me, and then I have like my boys. That's what it's called, like the boys chat. And I'm constantly like, give me feedback. Don't bullshit me, like, because we're all that same kind of in that sphere. How can we do things? How can we change things? What can we make better? The bitch moans and complaints that we all have after tournaments. What can we do to mitigate to make this experience better? Constantly trying to look elsewhere in the entertainment industry about making those items cross over into what we're doing, and now it's to this point where I woke up, I was like, I want to do this. I remember having the conversation with Russell from DLX. He's like, because he was spinning up with Tim, He's like, "Why don't you take that step? Yeah, we're going back. Are you ready for that? It's gonna be a lot of money, a lot of time." And I'm like, "I got nothing but time and money. I'm retired, and I'm looking forward to the challenges." And we made it through Austin. We made it through D-Day. We were talking earlier. Some of the fucking roughest shit possible to make that tournament happen, and then it go off with the way it did, and we were able just to fucking power through all the adversity. Really drove the narrative into Mardi Gras, and I really honestly felt that Mardi Gras was as perfect as a tournament that could possibly be held in the capacity it was held in. Like, Drew knocked it out of the park with LAX. The staff fucking was phenomenal. The reffing was solid. The weather was perfect. The two issues that we had were not a factor at all to our participants, and everybody went home with a happy face and a belly full of crawfish. So
yeah, I think that the Mardi Gras event was just, we enjoyed every bit of it, and the weather was great. I do remember those two issues that you were talking about. One of them was, I think there was a generator that blew or something like that.
Yeah. So
but you
the
were
head gasket.
you were already like over an hour ahead of schedule. So you're just like, you know what, we're just going to take our lunch break now. Why not? And then
that goes back. It goes back to having subject matter experts on hand to deal with your issues. And that's one of the key things, on combat patrol. I'm not an expert in explosives. I can deal with it, but I'm not a fucking expert. So I'm going to bring in an EOD tech. I'm not an expert in call for fire. Can I do it? Absolutely. But I ain't proficient in it enough to feel confident fucking putting bombs on dudes' heads. So I'm going to call in an FO. I'm going to bring an FO on a patrol. The same mentality and the same respect to those individuals comes down to what, how we operate. I have a guy who is specifically brought in to watch a generator and the air. That's his whole fucking focus for however long the tournament goes. His whole thing is just to do that job. And it is what it is. But, we were able to catch early on that we were having a heating issue on the generator because the head gasket had blown and was leaking oil into the electrical circuit. So it was going to catch on fire, and be like, hey, we're good. And at the same time, all the refs are, fucking some of the best in the country who kept us at almost all times an hour ahead of schedule. So it was like, all right, make a phone call, get a new generator on route. Hey, dudes, and whoever's in the pit, I can't remember, but I was like, hey, dudes, we're an hour ahead of schedule. You guys are up next.
Looks like Chris, you still there? It looks like we lost you for a second there.
I'm here. Let me share my screen again. That's why Discord's been acting up. I told those dudes, hey, dudes, we're an hour ahead of schedule, and we're going to take a tactical pause as soon as this match is done. It's field 2. That they had no idea what was going on. Generator came in, swapped out 10 minutes. We were back on schedule, and we were still 30 or 40 minutes ahead of schedule by the time we got all that done. And that's just a testament to having good people on board doing their job. People being passionate and proactive to making sure that we're giving the best possible product to our participants. I don't like using the word customer. Feels kind of dirty, which is weird, but that's I'm super happy with the people that we've been able to bring on board for the team, because they've made this possible. And I tell them every fucking time, you are the reason that I'm able to be successful and do what we're able to do. And if I didn't have them, this wouldn't be as successful as it's been. So if there are any of those guys that listen to this, again, thank you guys, because you're just as important as my stupid ass ideas.
Yeah, I know that after both of the events, you release your after action report, where you just basically discuss everything that happened, went right, went wrong, and it really opened my eyes into seeing just how much back end there is to putting on an event like this. At the first event, how the whole weather not cooperating a couple of days prior, and the mud, and yet the event still happened,
Yeah.
and it was still a big success.
I got told this on Thursday when it was lightning and raining on us. Like, if you want to go home right now, I respect you. Like, I ain't gonna think nothing of you, but I got to feel the build, and this is it. I've spent every fucking dollar I possibly have made to make this happen, and I'm not leaving until the field's up. And the guys rallied and made it happen. And that's a testament to their hard work as well.
Yeah, and it's also showing with just the amount of hype and interest that you've generated for this series just after 2 events. Like, they believe me, all of the struggles that you've gone through, and how it. I don't want to say easy, but how successfully you were able to overcome these struggles have been noticed, and you're getting a lot of players, teams, and organizations really hyped to see what's coming up next year. So not just like with the series that's happening over at Giant, but also with the Denver Mile High Open. So do you want to tell us anything more about those?
Yeah, I mean, just to caveat kind of what you were just saying, paintball is a social sport. Like, all of this is social. And so, like we were talking earlier off air, is that I don't know what you did with Little Bear. It to me is important to share the journey, because that is a big piece. This is something people who play competitively like we do or have done. It engrosses your fucking life. Like, regardless of like you really want to admit it or not, this is your dirty little vice. And for a lot of us, we want to talk about it. We want to be energized. We want to be passionate about this because we are, and you're going to go through the highs and lows of, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Case in point, CFOA 2009, lost every fucking match. I hated the paintball. I didn't want to play anymore. And then for some reason, we got our collective shit together and we started winning every point. And then we won the tournament. Man, I can't be more happier than my fucking life right now. 20 minutes earlier, I couldn't wait to get the fuck home. And that's, paintball at its core. And in that, you want to share those stories. You want to share that excitement, and you want to be involved with it. And so to me and our crew, we want to share that. We want to share as much information. We want the hype videos I'm making, getting Macho Man Randy Savage to do promos, just stupid shit, because it's fun, it's enjoyable, and it gives you something to talk about and be hyped about and excited, and that's what we want. We want that excitement, we want that hype. Because I remember when I was a 10, 12-year-old kid watching Mardi Gras, watching all these other venues happen, it's like, man, I'd love to be there. Watching Skynet in Toronto, on the videos and stuff, like, man, I want to be involved with that. And so we can continue to capture that or try to cultivate that. Then I think we're doing, the necessities to make that happen and continue that narrative and make people excited and want to do it. And then, hey, that's me. I can show mom and dad. I can show wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case is. This is me. This is what we're doing. And that's why we have like the free webcast. And we try to get everybody on that field at least one time during an event to show like, hey, this is what I spend copious amounts of time on. This is what I'm spending all my fucking money on. This right here. And if we can capture that and encapsulate it and then give it back to you guys and make you hungry and just, I cannot wait for that next hit, then we're doing what we're supposed to do as a league, and that's what, I wake up and that's what's fucking driving me right now is how do we capture that? How do I capture the 20 plus years I've been doing this so that, that new kid who steps on the field for the first time gets that same euphoria, if you will.
Yeah, and I can tell you that from my perspective, that you're doing all of those things, but it's not just like, hey, I've put on an event, I've hired some refs, I put a field together, and I've got a whole bunch of paint for you to come by and shoot. No, it's a lot more than that. It's the experience as a whole, and just obviously I've got the tomahawk here from the first event. That is definitely one of those stories that I get to show off.
So that's a perfect example. The dynamic of the MVP award, right? All right. So Maddie Marshall sits up there with Rich Telford and tells terrible jokes for 3 solid days. And then those two pick the MVP. the simple dynamic of asking your team who the MVP was for them did what? It makes that experience 1,000 times more important to you as a player and to the team, rather than two talking heads sitting up there and making that decision. But what I didn't do anything different. I didn't change anything. I just changed the focal point to the most important person, the team, you know? And now we have a better experience. We have more captivating, moments that we're able to share that you can go and share with other people to get them involved, to get them passionate about what you're doing,
For sure. And even past that, like, let's talk about and this is I hope you don't mind me sharing this story, but come the Mardi Gras event, Texas Titans, we end up getting third place. And the medals, they're supposed, the little mask is supposed to spin. But,
Yeah.
You tell us like there was like a kind of hiccup because I guess you said that like the original company that you got them from like had went under because of COVID, and so you had to find a whole new company to do this thing. But so you actually
it sucked too because like it was such a cool thing, and the pin was just not sturdy enough to hold the weight. And of course, dudes are just smashing on that fucking thing, so they're breaking off. And there's another team, they're like the miscommunication that they were supposed to get replacements like for first or something. I was like, I don't recall. I knew the third place were broke. I didn't know what any other ones were broke.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like, companies, the company that we used went belly up. So it's like trying to replicate that with a whole new dying cast, to try to get those back out there, turn into another fiasco. But stuff like that you can't ever plan for.
Well, even then, like you've gone above and beyond. Like right here, I'm holding the old metal that I ended up just kind of gluing the mask in place. But what you did is you found I'm assuming just a whole entirely new company to get these medals, and I got the new one right here. Like that's not something that you had to do. Like you made it right by us, and that is that extra effort, which I'm sure went a great deal of headache and some expense on your part just to make it right by our experience. Like that goes a huge way for us. Like.
And that's important because, again, it goes back to the internet. What you go and tell your friend who's never played our event is gonna base their decision when they're all around the round table about, hey, what events are we going to play? What events are we going to participate? And so doing all the little things, that's the most difficult. Do the little things when no one's looking is what is important. That's what drives, the character of this, and that's, again, it's one of the things from the military, being a good person, doing the right thing, is the customer always right? Absolutely fucking not, but, if it's something that's going to mitigate the situation to make it easier, then why not do it? Did we have to do that? No, it's an unfortunate circumstance. But, again, it turns into, is it going to make the overall experience better? Or is that something that, you're going to harp on every fucking time we come up in conversation? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we won, but, we got shitty medals because they broke, so, whatever. Yeah. But, it's not a big deal, but obviously it's a big deal because, you're still dwelling on it, several months later.
Right.
Not saying that in this case, but that's how people are, in paintball, I see it as exacerbated with situations like that with different things.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'm sure that listeners of the show who are involved in the Texas paintball scene know as well. Like there's been other events, I mean, even this year where, we've won or we've podiumed and they tell us, oh, we don't have the medals for you. We'll have them, ready for you at the next one. And then we get to the next one and they aren't there and they give us some sort of lame excuse. And then by the time the medals get in, and this is something that I've actually had happen and it's hanging up here on the wall, like the medal comes in and it has the wrong event printed, the wrong date. So
I will say, because I am for the most part of the planning stuff, I did on Mardi Gras, I misspelled Mardi Gras. And Ken Bryson from Vipers, he pointed out to me. I was like, man, I'm fucked, dude. I'm sorry. Like, you're pulling fucking 20 hours a day trying to get ready for these tournaments. And then, like, we bought the cups super in advance. We did the medal super in advance. Something as simple as spelling Mardi Gras. I fucked up and he's like, nah, dude, it's cool. It's cool. Don't worry about it. And same thing with Mark Fran, he brought it up too. And it's just like, it's, you try to do as best as you possibly can every single time, and that's why I'm always with my groups like, hey man, I gotta tell them, if you see me fucking up or you see something fucked up, voice it. Don't hold back. Like, I want you to be a vocal participant in this group. I brought you on because I believe in you. And as a leader, I need your feedback. I need to know when we're getting off that course. I need to know when we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, because we've set the standard and we cannot falter from that. We can always meet the standard and we can get better. We can never go below our standard. And that, is a big reason why we canceled Halloween Havoc this year. I went and met with the guys at Giant, super pumped about it. And then I'm looking, okay, you got USXBL. We've got another event down in Houston this coming week. And then we got World Cup coming up. So can the players sustain that much action in this amount of time? Can we do it to our best of our ability? Yes, we can. However, we don't believe that the Texas player can sustain that much because his focal point is going to be on World Cup. So, instead of forcing an event and making that happen, we were like, all right, we'll just take a step back and, just plan for the next season. And to me, that was the better choice, because it's going to help make our series that much better.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, as far as the standard that you set for yourself, it's very high. So whenever those kind of small detail things get missed here and there, it's the fact that you've earned those good graces with everybody. Those small things turn into great stories. Like, I think we actually still have our Bunkerfest check from our first place win, where Texas was misspelled. Yep. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
And I didn't spell it. That's the fucked up part. I'm like, hey, put this stuff on here. I got to go take care of this real quick. I come back. I'm like, do you need a dictionary? What's wrong? I'm sorry. Like, come on, my man.
Yep. And I've got the check right here, actually. So, see,
yeah, I did not spell that. So everybody knows I did not spell that. That's like some Alexis Texas stuff right there.
Yes, sir. But this just became a great story. I mean, the experience as a whole was so. We'll forgive you for that one letter.
I appreciate it.
So
I honestly don't know who spelled it either. I remember I had to leave. I was like, hey, prep all this stuff, and I come back and I'm like, Texas. Like, what did we do here? Like, sorry. I'm like, we need to go back to school.
So with all of those stories, I mean, I'm looking forward to getting to create more of those next year. So, is there any way for us or anybody listening to help support you and the Bunkerfest series, beyond just signing up and playing the events?
Watch us, watch what we're doing, and see what we're doing. Something that we were doing continuously at LEX was walking around and be like, hey man, like, give us your feedback, like good, bad, and different. Tell me how we can get better. Watch the webcast and see what you think. Tell us, what you think of the venue, what can we do better, and just be a vocal participant if you can't be involved, in person. Obviously, we want you to come into the event. We want you to come experience our brand. But if you're not able to do it, then just share it on social media. That's a big piece too. The more eyes that we can get engaged on, what we put out, that's a huge piece. Even if you're not going to participate, or if someone's going to participate, just share. If you share something, well, share what your buddy shared. Because obviously they're passionate about it. So hey, man, I'm gonna share that same commitment that you are about this topic. And it just help continue driving that. That's probably the biggest thing we can ask people.
Well, that's it's something I think me and the rest of the Texas Titans organization were looking forward for this. We want this to succeed. So we'll definitely be sharing, helping to grow this thing, and and not just because like we enjoy the experience, but we also like truly believe that going forward, this is going to be the best thing for the Texas scene as a whole, and maybe.
So Mondo and Ryan were at the first event, and so Mondo, I finally see Mondo, and he'd been walking around. He's actually playing with his team, and I seen him. I was like, "Hey man, how do we do? Don't bullshit me. How do you do?" He started crying, and that really helped validate a lot of the sacrifice that they made. And then having the conversation with him, like you did it, and you look at like the last Bunkerfest was like in 2014 or 2012 or something like that. There wasn't a large turnout. You got PSP going on, so obviously they got a huge rival, hurdle to get over. The MPPL was still going on, so you've lost a good chunk of your core players. But to be able to know that, okay, like we're on the right track. And I talked to Ryan Gray, and he's like, "Hey man, you're doing all the fucking things that I see," because he's still on the scene, from the highest level up, coaching, still, and participating every once in a while. But getting their feedback, knowing that we're doing the right things and we're being where we need to be, made all it more, special. And it goes back to like we were saying, it's like the culture piece. Like I want to change that culture. It's not going to be overnight. I know this, but I'm willing to invest heavily into making that happen. And like I said today, I sent some infographics out, and I was like, under is going to bear the majority of this weight, and if we fail, well, we failed. But I know that we gave every fucking ounce of our life to make this happen, and I'll 100% go out on my sword and be like, hey, dudes, we tried to give all the things that you all bitch about and you complain about and you want to see. We gave you all that, and you didn't want to participate. You didn't want to show up. You didn't want to give us an opportunity, whatever the case is. So you can go back and do the same thing that you've been having. And if that's what you want, that's what you want. Or, we're super successful and we get to continue driving forward and having more opportunities for the concurrent seasons. So, it's a huge step for us and for myself, a leap of faith. It's a fucking gambling, proposition is where I kind of sit at with all this because,
right.
I don't know how things are going to respond. I don't know how the economy is going to happen. I don't know how the players are going to respond. On November 14th, we're going to release our dates. And I'm sure we're going to get a fucking 1,000 goddamn questions. And we're going to let it sit for a week. And then we're going to, put out some more information the following week and plan and prep. And then hope to see everybody's smiling faces several months down the road.
Absolutely. I was excited to finally see that there was a date for, granted it's a date for a announcement of dates, but getting that first kind of tidbit of information, we've been hungry for anything that we can get. And I know that you and I, we've been personally messaging each other over some things, some exciting things that are coming forward.
And I've been not reluctant to give any information out, but I wanted, to give everybody who's involved in the scene here their space to shine. I didn't want to try to overlap or steal anybody's thunder. I wanted everybody who's sitting at the table in Texas to have their opportunity to finish out their season in peace and quiet, so they can do whatever they want. And once that got done, all right, now we start doing our media blast. We start doing our promotional pieces. We start doing all the things that I've been sitting in queue for months, and I can't wait for the 14th. So I can just start offloading all this shit that I've been working on for the last several months since Mardi Gras, and just fucking go, and just build that hype, build the anticipation, and I cannot wait. Like, so, it's all been for reason.
Oh, I'm
And
sure that you have a whole strategy behind this, and we're just kind of selfish, and we're also really excited. We're just
trust me,
excited, honestly. But
guys are like, win, win, win. It's like, trust me, dude. I want to tell you, but I've got a rhyme and reason, and we want to give, and again, like we have to. Guys are focusing on World Cup. They're not really going to give us much opportunity or thought, when we're several months out from our first event. And that's, it is what it is. I'm not going to fucking deny that. Everybody's excited about World Cup. Everybody's excited about doing that. So that's the most important event. And as soon as it's done, all right, the focus has changed, and now it's time for us to put our foot down and move forward. So.
For sure, yeah. So, obviously you have the dates announcement. You've just released all of those kind of promotional, like hype videos with the animations, which I thought that was really cool. I haven't really seen that out of anybody, not just in Texas, but anywhere in the paintball scene. So, that's a cool little addition, and even. It's not like it's anything different. Yeah. It's not like it's anything that may or may not see like a financial return or anything like that, but it's
absolutely
cool.
not. Absolutely not. Again, most of the shit that I do, I'll never see a dime back for. But it made me happy, like getting Macho Man. I'm not gonna get my money back from the fucking promo video that we had Macho Man come on and do. But I don't give a fuck. I got to tell my friends that the idea was, and this is just me being stupid, again, drunk. How cool would it be to have like a bunch of professional wrestlers do promo videos between all the leagues, and they all talk mad amounts of shit? Your promoter, your 80s wrestler is just dogging the shit out of the other dude who's talking about his league. And so we're all super drunk and like we're all laughing our ass off because this would be funny as fuck. And then like months go by, and I'm like, okay, I can't get this out of my head. And I went and got Macho Man, and he did the promo video, and I laughed, and I watched it, and I just laughed my ass off. So then I made a second one. We haven't released that one yet, but we will, because it was funny. There's no rhyme or reason for it, and most of the shit that I look at on the Wave Top, it's me just having fun with the space that we're in, And if we can have you have that same enjoyment, that same laugh, then you're going to tell your friends about it, regardless if you come play our series or not, or events. That's just something funny. Like, you remember funny commercials. You don't remember fucking, serious ones about cancer and some shit.
For sure. Yeah. Well, do you have any other like tidbits that you can share at this time, like even if it's just dates, or like even if it's just a message of
I won't share any dates.
Stay tuned, or
November 14th. Let's see.
Obviously you've shared that there's 150,000 reasons why to come.
I'm actually off of my math, by the way, so it's actually more than 150,000 reasons. So I fly back out, so approximately noon on Monday Central Standard Time. We'll be posting the dates for Bunkerfest on November 14th. So I get off the plane about 11, pending no issues. When I get touchdown in Texas, we'll be posting the dates for Bunkerfest on the main page, on my page, on Instagram, and then the website will get updated shortly thereafter. And then the following week, registration will open up. And then right now, we've got a few other things we got to get ready for that, because we want to obviously incentivize teams. So we've got a lot of things, and then we're going to do a live Q&A the following Monday, which I believe will be like it's
the 21st, I think.
Yeah, because it's the 14th we'll release it, the 21st the dates, and then on the 28th we're going to do a Q&A on the Bunkerfest page. And so guys can hammer with all their fucking questions. So they'll have the event come out, then they're gonna have Thanksgiving. So we're having I love doing everything with a date that has some type of symbology or symbolism to it. So feast and giving. That's why we're doing the registration opening on Thanksgiving week, and then the following week, all right, now I'm all fat and happy now, but I want more. So So come Monday, having that conversation. Look forward to it.
November is going to be an exciting month for sure.
Yep.
Right.
So and like the guys in Denver, we are going to Denver. They felt that they got left out because I didn't put it on the promo that we did before, but we are going to Denver. I haven't forgotten about you guys. I just wanted to give the Texas, because it is first, its opportunity to take forefront. But we are going to Texas, or we are going to Denver. We are still working on the dates. We got some logistical things that have to get taken care of. I have a good warm and fuzzy on that, but we are going one way or the other. We're still going to go. We all can calm their tits and chill
I think
out.
you just recently also, at least from what I saw, you recently tagged the field that it's going to be at.
Yeah. So APC is right now where it's slated to go. We met with Tony. Was that June? I met with Tony at some point this year. I flew out there, walked his park. He's got a good facility. So that's where we're looking at. But Tony's expanding into a new field. And so right now we don't know which APC facility that we're going to. Tony obviously would like us to go to his new field because it's his new field. He wants to show it off. And respectfully so, I completely agree with it. But if it's not ready, then we're going to know probably by the first event where we're going. And then in that time, then we can give everybody the date. I have my tentative dates, but I'm not going to give you any information that is not 100%, but I will give you information that is 100% in a timely fashion. Like we talked about earlier, that's one of my things. I feel across the board, nobody gives timely information that is of critical need until it's too goddamn fucking late. And I feel like it's always important, regardless of how much information you have, you give it to your troops. The more information that you have at any given point, it's going to help you better facilitate, an 70 or 80% solution than no information at all, or 100% of the information way too fucking late, So
yeah,
I will do my absolute best to always, you can bank on that, is to give, as much information as I possibly can. And, it's not like guys don't know where the fuck I'm at. I get a message at like 3 a.m.
right,
daily. So
yeah, for sure. All right. So y'all, you've got your dates now. You've got your dates for the dates. Definitely stay tuned on all those pages because November's gonna be here before you know it. All right, yeah. So, Chris, I think we're gonna open it up to some questions, and we've had the chat kind of pop off. So let me kind of scroll through really quickly. I know I've been getting trolled a little bit by my own guys, but that's how it goes. So yeah, just some comments about kind of current scene stuff that they're hoping to see change. I won't kind of put you on the spot with any of those things.
And I mean that's one of the things I even told Tom is like, I'm not here to compete with anybody. Mm-hmm. I'm here to do my own thing. I don't like the idea that I'm out here to compete, with anybody. Same thing with like clothing and Jed with comp. I think it's short for competition. Said the same thing. I don't give a fuck.
Yes.
Yeah, compete. I don't care. And he said it, but he's like, I don't care, if you're buying from me or Charles or him, as long as you guys are doing something in Texas.
Right.
And that's a good mentality to have. It's like, I'm not here to say that we're better than X. I'm not saying here we're better than Y. I'm saying that we're giving you another option. And to me, as a player, that's the most important piece. That now I have more options. And then on the larger side, us as businesses have to adjust just as the market does to make sure that we can be and stay viable and a respectable option for whoever decides to invest in us. So circling back to it, is like I'm not here to throw anybody in the bus or say we're better than X, Y, and Z. It just turns into a Chevy versus Ford argument.
Right. Right. For sure. All right. So looking at the comments here, first question, I think this question was back when you were kind of telling us more about the Commander's Cup and kind of your vision for that. This is from Josh De Leon on the Titans. He asks, does Chris think that other leagues are soft when it comes to overshooting penalties?
No, because I've gotten gross majors in WC. I've got gross majors in MVPS. I don't think I've got one in MSXL. To me, and I've said this with the refs, and I said it at the money rounds for Mardi Gras. I don't give a fuck if you shoot each other into the fucking dirt. I think obviously there needs to be, and this goes on the refs, to understand, okay, at what point do we get to the part where it becomes unsafe?
Right.
And, when a guy cowers or turns or puts his head down, at that point, that's when it should stop. I'm still sewing. So, like, if a dude comes through, like a case in point, that video with... I'm not going to time to play the game. Right. I'm sorry, but you should already be in bed. It's 9 o'clock. With Blast Camp and Ruthless, I think it was. Yeah. In the first part of the video, Homeboy gets walked off.
I think it was Ruthless and Distortion, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right. So earlier in the match, Homeboy from Distortion gets walked off. So tit for tat. That's how it goes, and especially at that level, you want to be the hammer. Be the hammer. Sometimes, motherfucker, you're gonna be a nail. Do I think that's wrong? Nope. Do I think there should have been a penalty? Nope. So, I think a lot of that goes down to the conversation that the league has with its refs. And I've told my guys, and Dylan, he runs all the refs. He's our ref manager. Let them play. If they're being grimy, let them be grimy. But as soon as they get over that threshold, give them the fucking business. And that's why all of our refs have fucking radios. That's why we have a guy in the watchtower. We have, dudes watching, and that's one of the things, like, your refs suck. No, there's just 12 refs out there. You're used to 6 refs. You're used to 8 refs. There's 4 more sets of eyes watching you. It's a big difference, and reffing is one of the most subjective things. And we have our ref chat, and I tell those dudes all the time, it's like, you are the reason we will fail or we will succeed. No other, I can give them 4,500 fills and I can give them the perfect fucking paint. But if you guys aren't out there doing what you're supposed to be doing and making sure the game stays fair and balanced, and non-biased, then it's not gonna drive forward the best event that we can possibly give. So to me, I don't think that there's soft leagues, but at the same time, you can't make it lawless. You can't allow that distortion event to happen every single fucking play. That being said, there's matches where 406 was playing Collision. It was like that every fucking point. Me and David would shoot the shit out of each other, or Cowboy would shoot the fucking shit out of Kelly, and it was just like, that's just how it was. Just expect it. Don't go bitch about it. Don't be a little fucking girl. No offense to anybody, but that's just, you step up. You want to be a badass. Well, guess what, man? You got to earn your stripes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember that captain's meeting that you had with us right before the money matches at Mardi Gras. It was just, hey, shoot each other to your heart's content. But the second you point your finger after you're dead, you're getting a flag.
Oh yeah, I was sitting there, and it was Anthony. He's local. He was sitting right in front of me. The Dorito side shoots the dude, gets shot, and he goes like that. And all you hear Anthony, give it to him, give it to him, give it to him.
Yep, we remember that, and it was overtime in the finals match, and it cost him the match.
Yep, and it's like, that's the one thing, dude. It's like, let the refs do their job, and as soon as the shitty part is, if it would have just waited fucking a second, that guy gets pulled, your dude walks off. It's now a 2-on-1. You win the fucking match. Yep. But instead, you pointed. You didn't let the boys do what they're supposed to, what they got hired to do, and you lost, fucking, what is it, fucking $4,000 or some shit. I don't know what the cut was, but it sucked, because it's like, well, fuck, man, like, it just hurts,
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I mean, that's how.
Them's the rules. So another question here from my teammate Mike Lundgren. He asks, "What is your favorite product that you've made?"
Um, Probably jerseys because we get to really have the largest canvas to express our designs as well as our players' designs. So probably jerseys would be my favorite product to make. But I love making headbands. I love making goggle straps. The gear bags were super fun to develop and test, and we're continually trying to make those better. But if I had to pick one product, it would be jerseys.
I gotta say, the favorite product that I have, at least my favorite thing that has Under on it, isn't actually a product from Under. It's I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. This right here, the Double Fist of Rangel, which is signed by you. I got it signed at Mardi Gras. This is my favorite right here.
Yeah, that's Ryan. It's all him. Like, it was crazy, like that whole transpire of events. Like, all of that is like nutty when I look back at it. It just happened. It's fucking we're about to do it. I looked over at Paul from Violence. I was like, hey, let me get that fucking ski mask. Put the ski mask on, grab 2 bottles, boom, boom. And it all just worked.
Another question here. Will Modelo ever sponsor the Bunkerfest beer gardens?
Man, I wish, dude. If nothing else, I wish Modelo would just tell me to stop.
Yeah. I remember when what was it, Denver Chaos became Modelo A Team. We were so sad, man. We were
so the thing is I would need to find somebody who's at the distribution or the bottling company to give us the same thing that they got. That's the difference. Mm-hmm. I'm obviously just trying to go after the head of the snake, but for those guys, they have someone locally who is able to do that on the local scene. So if say someone's listening who works at the plant, knows the plant POA, if you will, then that would be the person we would reach out to get said sponsorship or endorsement from that bottling plant. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like I said, it's more of a running joke for me just to tag them over and over at this point than actually go and do something viable to go to a bottling company here who might produce Modelo in Texas. So would it be cool? Fuck yeah, man. I'd absolutely love it. I'd welcome in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, if you find that person, please send their contact info our way, because we've been trying to get in with Modelo for pretty much 2 years now.
Yeah.
And we were sad that Denver Chaos beat us to it.
Yeah, because I remember everybody started tagging me, and I'm like, and I look at it, I'm like, okay, it's and not a knock to anything. I'm like, okay, that's kick ass, but it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the head of their Instagram page to be like, bros, these are those dudes. All right, everybody go over. That's what I'm looking for, that clout.
Right.
But it would be kick ass to have a local distributor or a plant,
for sure,
be part of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So one last question that I would have more about kind of your Under Industries would be, as far as future goals and other products that you would be doing, would you ever consider being a paint distributor?
No. And this is just from having multiple conversations with Mike Hinman while he was running APX. It's not something that I would want to be involved with in that aspect. One, I don't have the technical knowledge to be able to do it.
Okay.
Two, there's other professionals who've been doing it for a lot longer than I'd be able to feel comfortable in that space. I think the smarter move is just to use whatever company to make branded Bunkerfest paint.
Okay.
That to me is a smarter as a cooperation piece than setting forth to ever do something like that. Right. Not to say that Mike didn't make his money with APX, but I know the amount of headache that he had to deal with. Is it worth it? I don't know.
Okay.
So, and I think it's just one of those tough. It's obviously the most hot button item, if you will, in our sport. You have to have paint.
Yeah. It's definitely.
But for myself, no, I'd have no interest whatsoever being in that.
Yeah.
I'd rather
It's a tough thing to get into. Tough thing to get into. It seems like, I don't know, maybe well saturated already.
Yeah, I mean, you got HK doing their thing. You got Vulcan, which I know they're about to make a new plant, and then you've got GI up in Canada. And from a logistical standpoint, that's shit's tough. It's expensive. Trying to get raw material, which comes majority from Europe. I know a lot of PEG comes from Russia, like the raw material that you need for that. And then you think, you got pharmaceutical companies, buying up that material tenfold, and then you're a stupid ass paintball company, trying to make paintballs, So, you're not on the pecking order of distribution networks of priority, when shit like that comes up. So
for sure. All right. So yeah, I think that does it for all of our questions for the chat. So one last thing that I ask everybody that comes on the show, are there any Texas-based teams, players, brands, or projects that have caught your attention lately? So who in Texas, if nobody else knows about them, who does Texas need to know about?
I would say probably the most prolific, or the guys that I recognize the most. Quit, little bear. I see you guys a lot, and I see the Cyclone guys. The reason I see the Cyclone guys is because they got that big ass tour bus. And then Greed would probably be my third for programs that I see the most. That I would have to say, hey, these guys are a good organization to be part of, or just keep an eye on.
Well, appreciate the shout out. Shout out to Jason Bonner and Greed. I had him on, I think 3 episodes ago. Shout out to Texas Cyclones. I had Niles on, actually. He was a very early supporter of the show. I had him on, I think, episode 5, and we're on episode 18 now. So yeah, shout out to those guys. Very good programs. I look forward to next year. Hopefully we're going to be competing against each other a little bit more.
I'm going to do my best. Make it happen.
Oh yeah. So. All right. So that does it for our time, Chris. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
Like everybody, kind of recap on a couple parts is, going in for next season, for Bunkerfest as a whole, I hope you give us an opportunity. I really hope you sit down around the table and you look at the pros and cons of where you're playing at currently, and you do a good analysis of that, of your season, and you give us an ample opportunity of conversation with your team to come and participate. We've got a lot of stuff planned. I look forward to having a lot of Q&As. I want the involvement from our player base because it's important. Their voices are what drives the train. So I'm looking forward to having those conversations, and we need everybody to talk about that. So when November 14th comes around, I hope that everybody has that conversation with their team, and the following week, and then the following weeks when we keep releasing more and more information. Is that we have that opportunity for guys to look at us and know, okay, the Mardi Gras event was the standard, and we're only going to go forward from here. And so, give us that chance. So
awesome. All right, Chris. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody watching for tuning in. Be sure to go follow Chris. He has a couple of different platforms if you're looking to follow under Industries. Yep. He's at UNDR Industries on Facebook and Instagram. Also follow Bunkerfest. That's at Bunkerfest_paintball on Instagram. Also has his Facebook page. He posts on both of them, so make sure you follow both. So y'all, what other guests would you like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button. The show goes live weekly here on twitch.tv/inthepitspaintballpodcast, and recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. Shout out to my partners and sponsors, FU Athletics, Get That Shot, Paintball Kumite, and Compete. We will see you all next week on Wednesday for episode 19. We will have Jesse Stevens of San Antonio X Factor. They've really turned it around after kind of a rough start to the year. They've gotten back-to-back semifinals appearances. And so next week, I think we're going to have Jesse right after the World Cup layout drops. So we'll get to hear his thoughts on that as well. All right, Chris. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks again for having me on tonight.